what's going on? I'm doing this video. I wasn't even gonna do this video, but I made a video about the Dred Scott case, and there was somebody in my video, and they were kind of trying to challenge the video, and I'm all fine with that. But I wanted to talk about something because this kind of interferes with the video that I was gonna do next, which was another economic video to kind of give you a little more knowledge on economics. But I want to tell people something, and I really want to elaborate on this. Okay, when I was talking to this person, or I don't know if it's a person or a bot, I don't know anything on the internet. I tried to explain to them that, why I came to the conclusion of what I came to the conclusion in the Dred Scott case. Because when I review law or when I review cases, I review them in the context of history, meaning you have to know the history around the case, and then you have to understand how to read case law, and then you have to understand law in general. So if you don't understand law, or you have no knowledge of how to read a case correctly, then you can fall for some of the semantics and some of the trickery, because you have to understand lawyers are very good with words, meaning they can use something that means a double and triple entendre. So when I'm trying to inform this person that the Dred Scott case does not mean what you think it means this, they give me this diatribe and some BS story that their grandma was Elder Dred's wife, and I'm like, well, that DNA wasn't invented while she was alive, right? Because they told me that she had a DNA test. I mean, they had a DNA test, and she was found out to be their relative. I was like, DNA was not invented till 2 years after she died, right? And I'm like, that that DNA wasn't popular or widely popular to the 1960s, right? So how did they get her DNA? So then the person kind of got pissed off because I kind of busted them for lying. But the reality is this: when it comes down to law is very, 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 very specific, but it can be used to have double meanings. Okay, I'll put some cases down below, and I'm going to kind of elaborate on these cases, because I've gotten to kind of like, comment section, arguments and diatribes. So I'm going to use this first case, the Beltran case. Now, if you understand the Beltran case kind of gives the cops the ability to, search you or pull you over if they think you have, due to scent or, anything that kind of tips them off. Now, if you look at this case on its face, you will understand, you'll think, okay, well, yeah, a cop can, smell alcohol or smell something and pull somebody over. But if you know how to read law, they can't fool you because you have to understand the legislative branch is not trying to cross over the executive branch. They're not trying to cross each other. So what they're trying to do is give each other a little leeway as long as it doesn't too much infringe on people's rights. So I go through this Beltran case. I'm arguing with this ex-police officer that he, because he doesn't know how to read. So I'm sitting there and I'm telling him, I said, dude, the Beltran case doesn't tell you that an officer can smell alcohol or smell marijuana and pull you over. It doesn't say that. I said, if you read the actual case and you read the series of events, you will actually see what took place. The reason why the cops were able to detain the person was because the person had a weapon and the cops saw the weapon. That's why. So when you read case law, you have to understand the context of the case, and you can't just go off of just the opinion, because the opinion might be to deceive you. Case in point, I read the Supreme Court case for forced blood draws in the state of Wisconsin. Now, the average person would sit there and say, well, the police officer can pull me over and give me a blood draw. And the answer is no. So if you read this case, it says unconscious drivers. So it says that the Supreme Court ruled that they can give forced blood draws or take blood from unconscious drivers. Now, what is the context that the word unconscious is being used in? Or what can it be used? Well, if you're a police officer, which is a professional liar, just like a lawyer, you're going to use this case to benefit you or the state. So you're going to say anybody that you drag in is unconscious. Why? Because if they're under the influence of alcohol, you can say they are not in their right mind. Boom. Do you see how words and context can be used? Or they can be deemed as unconscious of the law. See? Now, words can be dynamic in law, and you can make them dynamic. So if you read the Dred Scott case and you only get race from it, that means you don't know how to read. Because if you read it, you're going to read it on its face. You're going to read the terms, but you're not going to read the true context or what they were the intentions of the case was to do. That's why I explained it in my video, because it was a 10-minute video. I think it was around 10 minutes. You know, so I can't go and elaborate everything that they were setting up a corporate United States and they were trying to, you know, give the citizens choice through popular sovereignty. That's why I put those clips in the front of the video, because it tells you what popular sovereignty is. They're giving you the choice to decide to either be a slave or not. See, the problem is people don't know how to read. Myself, I didn't know how to read. I was extremely ignorant until I understand the jurisprudence of law, the science of law. Then when I started understanding the science of law, that's why I did the videos, why you don't need a lawyer. That's why I did the videos talking about that. And then I did a video talking about why you need to how to deal with debt collectors. The problem in this country is like we do argue too much, and sometimes we need to have a discussion. The terms Negro, you know, like that's used in that. Yeah, they were talking about free people too. So there's that off top that tells you that there were so-called free black people or so-called free Negroes. You see what I'm saying? See how you can read and find out the truth through reading? You don't have to, like, the way that I read a case is I'll read the opinion, then I'll read the decision, and then I'll go all the way up and read the details. So I read usually from the bottom up. And that allows me to understand the context of the decision. I don't read from the top down, because if I read from the top down, I'm going to get lost by all of the details and all of the BS that's in there to trick me into thinking some other bullshit. You always have to look at the intentions of the case and look at it objectively. So, you know, that's the reason why I'm doing this video. You know, if I do a video and you have, you know, a difference of opinion, or, you know, you don't agree with the topic, you're more than welcome to explain it in my comment section. You're more than welcome to exchange dialogue with me. I'm cool with that. But when it starts getting offensive or you start trying to offend me, I don't want to hear you no more. The Dred Scott case, I exactly hit the nail on the head by explaining it. Now, I made a lot of mix-ups and mess-ups because it was off the cuff video. But that video explains to you why that case was used. And I go through and I tell you the Kansas and Nebraska Act. I go through all of these acts and what they were really trying to do. You see what I'm saying? So I don't even need to elaborate much on that, because if you look at the context of history and you really know American history, you know that almost all of the shit that we're taught is bullshit. It's bullshit. Almost everything you thought so-called black people were slaves. Come on, man. Stop it. Stop it. If you mean black, you mean the artificial term black that is used. If you look at the census will tell you that so-called black people are from South Africa. So-called black people are from South Africa. Damn near everybody else in the world is white. So you have to understand that some of these terms have been used to miscategorize you and to actually transfer you into having no rights. So please, one thing I have to tell people, learn how to read, learn how to interpret and understand things. Don't just take them on their face. You have to be objective while reading something. That's why you can get lost in the Dred Scott case. If you read the case and you stay stuck in the case, you have to understand the full context of history. When cases get to the Supreme Court can kick down almost any case saying, nah, we're not hearing that. We don't have enough time to hear that. We don't want to hear it. When the Supreme Court case usually hears a case, there's an agenda behind it. The same way where people get pulled over and they think that the officers can stop them and do DUI checkpoints. They think that the officer can tell them that, hey, you have to get out of the car. This is a DUI checkpoint, blah, blah, blah. Then you hear other people who don't have any knowledge of law. They'll sit there and tell you, oh, that's unconstitutional, when they don't understand that both sides are right. It's unconstitutional if an officer forces you to do anything. You know, if they don't have a warrant, if you're not suspected of a crime, it's unconstitutional. But if you pull over into a DUI checkpoint and they tell you to give them your driver's license, that's a contract. If they tell you get out of your car, that's a contract. If they tell you you have to give them your driver's license, well, ask them, do you have a warrant? You know, I'm not even going to tell you how to engage with the police, because, you know, I had to learn how to deal with the police on another level, on some knockout blow type shit. But I'm not here to do that. But I just want people to kind of understand, sometimes you have to learn to look at history objectively, and then you can put the pieces together yourself and understand the truth of history. Because a lot of stuff is lies. It's just like this so-called beer virus. They're using this, and people are not paying attention to all of the policies in the CARE Act that can help you build wealth, because you're too busy looking at the damn virus. You see what I'm saying? The virus, it's a hoax, people. It is a fucking hoax. The greatest wealth transfer in history, one of the greatest wealth transfers in history, is happening. This is why I said that in my last video, there are people who want Rome to burn, and there are people who want to stop Rome from burning. Well, if you're a wealthy person, right, and you built up all this property, and you got all this capital, and you got all these money in stocks or whatever, and you've been hoarding all this wealth, and then out of the blue, you know, housing prices slash. So you were worth $10 million. Now you're worth $5 million. You see what I'm saying? Those are the people who are trying to stop Rome from burning. Some people call them Democrats. And then sometimes they want to burn it to the floor. But in the dual party system, there's really no Republicans and Democrats. It's all one party. It's just they're giving you the illusion of opposition. It's an illusion. It's called controlled opposition. It's like if I start a fight between, like say, okay, let me say it like this. Let me use a good analogy. Say you got a girlfriend, right? And I'm interested in your girlfriend. So I tell your girlfriend that you're cheating on her. Then I come to your girlfriend, I come back to you, and I tell you that your girlfriend is cheating on you. You see what I'm saying? Now you both break up and I get your girlfriend. You have to understand there are some people who are so duplicitous that they will do anything to get what they want, and they will manipulate. There's people who are just sociopaths. So you have to understand there's always going to be a duality. You know, it's always going to have a Janus nature. You know, there's always going to be up, down, left, right. So I just wanted to elaborate on that. This is a little bit of a diatribe, but I hope people understand a little bit further. I'm out.